Call the meeting to order, Griggs County Commission, January 19th, 2018 at 1 p.m. Stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. John.
Here.
Dale.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Troy's here. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
The Andy Purrs lady will not be here today. She had sick or ill, whatever. So
I see.
she'll be coming on the February 9th.
So we can take that off?
You can
Or
take
did
that
she
off.
send it? She didn't send any stuff that she...
No.
Okay. Anything else?
A motion to approve the agenda as presented with the removal of Andy Purrs.
Been moved by Dale to approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Second by Mark. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move on to the January 5th meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections to the meeting minutes as presented?
Move to approve the minutes as presented and dispense with the reading.
Moved by Sean to approve the minutes as presented and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move on to the bills. Anything out of the ordinary?
I don't believe so. There's just two additions. Those two. The card member services and the Verizon bill for social services.
Verizon
Came in
bill,
late.
$54.20, and the card member services must be a credit card bill for $34.99.
That is for this hotel bill. It gets filled off our credit card.
What's a SOTEL?
Has to do with our telephone. Travis would be easier to probably explain that. believe it maybe has something to do with our long distance or something.
That's a monthly recurring charge.
Yeah.
I think
What's the Jamestown Communications one
That is a bill that Wes found in
for? Like
Bob's
an old
stuff.
bill, you mean?
Yeah.
An old one, but they don't send another bill?
I double checked and it had not been paid.
this is a past due statement that came on the 31st of December, and the original invoice was 11/23/15.
No, it's 1623 or 83.
That's what the bill was.
The original.
The original was 1917 and a quarter, and there's a credit memo here for $234, which must have been a different invoice, because this is just a statement.
We don't have any idea what it was for. Then.
Yeah, hookup control and tower from 2015. It's from when the building was built.
Oh.
But it went to the emergency management
Sure.
department, didn't get to the auditor.
Okay. Because we might find out we weren't in compliance.
Huh?
Because we might find out we weren't in compliance. Okay.
Any questions on the bills?
Make a motion to approve.
Been moved by Mark to approve the bills with the, as presented, plus with the additional 2 vouchers from card member services for $34.99 and Verizon for the amount of $54.20. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion?
These didn't get back in here, did they? The North Dakota Association of Counties?
No,
I didn't see it.
I don't think so.
I have it here,
Oh, where it belongs.
but I don't have it mixed in with the bills in here.
Okay.
So we'd have to add that one if
Very well.
decided to.
Good.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. I just threw that thing in there, that email I got from Terry Trainer about the air ambulance thing. We didn't do it anyway, but that's just for information.
Sounds like some counties did.
Apparently. Well, fellers, do you want to belong to the North Dakota Association of Counties? I don't know.
I see no benefit.
Well, if they're right, just the benefit of being in that group for workman's comp is half the dues. You know, I don't know. I think it's kind of hard not to do that if you're gonna. We rely on them for a lot of training and information.
It's a resource that there's no other place to obtain the
No,
information.
I agree. I don't know how you couldn't. I mean, if you don't like some of the things they do, I think the way to resolve that is to become more active, not less active. I don't know.
Well,
That's how I feel.
if you're not happy with what they do, you have to get on their board of directors. And,
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Where do you see where the price is and how much they want to produce?
it's $5,440. It's in that black and white stuff there. It's on page 15, Mark.
Okay.
Right, the second to the last paragraph now. If they're even close to right on their workman's comp savings, the rest of it's probably okay. You know, that's how I looked at it, but
What's their work comp premium?
what is our work comp premium?
Oh, here it says without group opportunity, Griggs County annual premium would be $3,000 higher.
Right, that's what I was looking at. I don't know what it is. It's something you pay yearly, isn't it?
Yes,
I don't remember.
I believe we paid it last time.
I'll make a motion to continue to be part of the Griggs State
We're,
of the Association of Counties.
it's been moved by Mark to continue to be a member of the Association of Counties. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? I think the last time the North Dakota Association of Counties check for $13,022 was that
Yes.
was our workers' comp for the year. Yeah.
I mean, it might be true, the workers' comp, but you gotta realize here that they're citing something that happened in 1996. There was a 20% decrease. I mean, we're talking
Right.
20 years ago.
So it could be
There's-
bigger.
There's no proof
Could be
that
less.
carried through
Right.
to now.
If all their numbers carried through, you wouldn't have to raise any taxes at all.
That's right.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
No.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
No.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Wayne?
That's all that is, Scott. I talked to the utility company for our Gall Bridge project, and they are willing to help pay for the utility lower amount. They said it's not a big deal. They said if it's lowered, they will do that with their own forces, so you guys may not even see it though.
They were willing to lower it instead of relocate it?
They think they might be able to lower it. so
Okay.
They would rather do that than move it.
Then cut it.
Yeah.
I can't remember who I talked to, that somebody else that had run into an issue with that fiber, and apparently that stuff can stretch. It's like, if I remember right, they dug under it, they exposed it, and then they dug under it, and they left it overnight or something, and it settled into the trench, and they buried it again. I can't remember who told me that. But anyway, that's awesome.
So that's a kind of a non-issue for
Okay.
us at this point.
Perfect.
The right of way where that sits, I've been trying to connect with Jamie, and I actually haven't been able to talk to him over the phone since we met last. But I did send him a signed right of way plat, so he has what he needs to get the right of way if he thinks that we should. So I did let him know that if we're gonna get the right of way, we should have it before February 2nd, because that's when final plans go in. So hopefully next week we can.
You didn't prepare an easement. That's what he's gonna do from that.
He's gonna prepare the documents, like the easement and all that up. There's other things that go with it too. Just like we did on the last one.
And then somebody needs to go talk to me or Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia's who we have on the plat. I told him if that needs to change, just let me know. We'll change the contact information on the plat and send him a new copy, so. So that's where that sits
Okay.
at this point. Other than that, I just have, for the graveling projects that we had this last summer, we got all the final construction estimates together, so I just have final construction pay estimates
6 of them.
and reimbursement
7.
requests to be signed. So I can just run through them real quick. So the final construction pay estimate for Highway 19, Highway 19 is $7,198.13. For Highway 28, it's $20,921.33. Highway 22, $17,618.82. And for Highway 2, $19,517.78. I have copies of the estimates here because I had to sign those too.
Okay.
What's that one?
Lori has copies of all the reimbursement
The
requests.
contracts for Heartland stuff.
Oh,
I've got them all in there too.
motion to approve the submittal of the reimbursement requests.
So moved.
Been moved by Sean to submit the reimbursement requests to the state, provided by KLJ. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Then all you need to do is sign the first ones and he's got the other ones over there.
Oh, these are copies?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Well, those are the, you don't need to worry about signing that.
Okay.
Just the front page on the reimbursement requests, and then these are the actual estimates that they'll pay the contractor off of.
You get enough paper shuffling around, something's gonna get mixed up.
Laura, if there's any questions on that stuff, when you guys get to sending it all in, just let me know. I think Christie has a big handle of what needs to go where, so.
Christy usually does, so.
You want me to date these 18?
You can date them today, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have. If there's any questions on anything.
You met with Tom this morning?
Yep.
Did everybody got everything they need?
Yep, I
Good.
think, yeah, Dale, it sounds like they're gonna talk to Lauren and get things figured out to move forward with the set of plans that they have, so.
Okay, very good.
Wayne, any more news from either Cat or John Deere as what our options might be as far as the rates?
I talked to Kevin Wolford yesterday. He was just kind of wondering, what had happened, what was going on, if they should submit a proposal or a bid, we'd have to advertise. I also talked to Troy Mailer called and was wondering if you wanted to find out what it would cost you to buy them out. I think he had a price.
That's in the contract. The buyout price is in the
The
contract.
buyback is in the,
Yeah, but that's negotiable.
Right.
But
No, they admitted that.
But we don't have the ability to purchase the equipment. Where does the funding come from? We can't commit,
Right.
unless we have it in the budget, we can't commit to long-term liabilities, so we don't have the ability to buy it.
right,
We have the ability to enter into a lease purchase agreement. And as long as the lease stays in place, it can end up as a purchase, but our hands are kind of tied as far as that goes.
did they not say that they would, if we leased new John Deere equipment, they would let us pay in arrears?
Yeah,
in
they
the
did.
next machines.
They did, but
And I was looking at, the budget for 2018. We have $150,000 outside contractor. And we had that this year too, which we didn't spend anything on.
right.
So it's possible we could take some from there, transfer it to equipment. Also, we have $130,500 in gravel budgeted for 2018 this year. So it's possible we could leverage some of that in the payment.
Yeah,
So I was thinking, okay, they said we could pay in arrears, which we could just pay in like February of 2019, when we got our new funds from the new taxes.
Did you ask them if we could do a $3,500 lease instead of $6,000?
I think you can do 5,000, we could have done 5,000,
5,000 is too much.
but 5,000 is just how many hours you can put on and they'll still warranty it. The price isn't based on the 5,000 other than the amount of warranty. I think we would have saved a year's warranty charges, whatever that was. I can't remember what they said.
15 grand.
Yeah. So you don't want to go over that. You could do 3 years and 3,000, or 4 years and 3,000, maybe come out. But like Jim's machine right now is, well, it's more than this now. We worked over the weekend, but 4,500 hours he has on his. We still have several months left, 6 months. just about. So that's why we, rather than estimate that you're gonna put less hours on, you'd estimate you're gonna put more just in case. Because if we'd had bad winters and stuff like that. So. But yeah, you can do less hours on the warranty.
How many hours are on the other machines?
39, 38, 34.
And we're gonna run those until October or September, yeah?
September.
September?
August, I think, is when
August is when the lease is
when
up?
they go back.
Yeah, May to August. Yeah.
Make a payment in May of the 72,400.
Right.
So,
So in order to move forward, buy new machines, we need 168,000 plus the 72,000, correct?
well, we don't know exactly what they're gonna,
No.
they haven't given us a firm price. They said
Yep.
30 to 40, let's say.
Right. Yep.
30, 35, take 35,000 times 4, that's what, 150,
140.
140?
And the other thing I haven't seen yet is what equipment do we own? What equipment is included in the cost of those machines?
Gee, with the cost of those machines, they came with 4 wings, front lifts, which we used to, in the old days, we probably keep that front lift and just switch it over to the next cat we got, or whatever. And then, these new ones, the ones that we have now have rippers on, and so we'd want rippers on the next ones. So we
What
could-
for?
Huh?
Why?
That's where we mount our packers,
Oh,
those packers, and they really help.
so it's a
Or
three,
lining
it's
everything
kind of a
down.
3-point.
It's basically,
Yeah. You're not really using it to rip.
no, we haven't. But the idea was that when we return them, some contractor is gonna look, okay, that's got a ripper on it. He probably rips up the road and stuff like that. That's
But we
compacted.
don't care.
Pardon?
We don't care.
What model are
There's more
those?
value to
What
it.
model are those machines?
These are 772Gs.
Yeah.
3 of them, and then there's one GP. The GP has the joystick plus a little steering wheel. The other 3 just have a big steering wheel with the headache rack. That's all that other stuff.
And they're 2013 models? So we, if it's 150, 160 plus a 72, that's $250,000, or that certainly isn't in the budget. No, we can't scrape that up anywhere in the budget for this year, that's not a possibility. The problem that I see is if you look at the overall road budget and the balance carried forward, and you compare last year to this year, excluding the House fund money and the Senate fund money, the road fund has basically, has ran a $131,000 deficit, which means that we spent $131,000 more than we brought in. And that is,
As possible. There were a lot of unspent funds that were budgeted that we didn't spend.
yeah, but so if you look at the starting balance of the road fund, beginning balance and then the ending balance, it went from 1,668 to 1,536, which shows you that we overspent by
Well, what we
$131,000.
spent was the road projects.
No, yeah, but then compare the income compared to what we spent, subtract out the road projects, and it comes out about the same. My point being is it won't cash flow for the 5 years unless we can drive some more income somewhere. See, we had a,
But we can't do that, we already levy as much as we can, right?
yeah,
We're levying 30 mils already.
yeah, we're levied there, and it's the state money, we're gonna get about, what, 600,000, Wayne, or something like that. This year is scheduled to,
Yeah. That isn't our money, of course.
right, that has, although it's in the fund, it's not ours
It's in
to
the
spend.
budgeted
It's,
amount.
right, yeah, yep.
And then according to projects, Jake has a figure there that's gonna be like $510,619 left over after we spend the money on the bridge this year.
Right, but that doesn't get us anywhere either.
No, I know that. That's why I hate to see that in the budget. Because
Well-
it's not really part of the
But it has to be.
day-to-day operation. Yeah, I know it has to be, but,
I mean,
okay,
if-
so what's the 30 mils, what is a mil worth this year?
Just figure 20,000, so it's $600,000, yeah. So you had anticipated revenue of,
And then higher distribution,
yep. So revenues, 18 revenues, you had 1,555,461.98. And then you can go through the expenditures, and as you name off expenditures that are mandatory, you get to a number that tells you what is left in that budget. Now, you have to exclude the House bill, the Senate bill, and a few others, but that's what you have to work with, is a 1.5.
but we're not, what did you say we're gonna spend? 160,000?
Yeah, but the first thing to just figure out is what does it take, how much do we need to, in order to run the rest of this budget? So you can start right at the top, salaries, overtime, bookkeeper, health insurance, retirement, FICA, job service. So far, we haven't come across one we can do anything with. Workman's comp, shop expense, possibly. Repairs, probably not. Then we get down to where we can probably do something, $20,000 in engineering, outside contractor, contract work, oil, gas and fuel, probably not, gravel, possibly some of it, chips and sand, no, asphalt, probably not. Culverts, 20,000, probably not, supplies, 34. And then there's not much other liquid money in the budget other than that, so.
Right, but if we take away the gravel and the outside contractor, that's 180,000 or 280,000.
Yeah, but can we do that for 5 years? Take that away every year? That's the deal. You know, it's just not
Right.
1 year. For this year, would wipe it completely out because we've got 110, so we'd have to come up with another 140 basically, because you put 110 in for equipment. So the 110 is approximately, we went backwards 131. So really, we need to come up with whatever the payments for these things are going to be.
Right.
Because
Unless you pay at the end of the year every year until.
yeah, and then maybe none of us are here back when that comes due, but the bills eventually comes due, and it just keeps getting bigger because now we're paying interest the whole time, and that balloon payment is now 5 years of principal without any interest paid on it. I mean, there's probably some ways to do this.
And you could increase the hourly rate, but that's still not gonna amount to.
No,
They'll just cut back probably on the hours, but.
it would be nice if we could keep the existing machines at the same price we're paying for another 2 years. That would be the ideal thing.
Only problem is then your value isn't gonna be your.
We don't have
They
any
said something
value
about
now.
taking the buyback, they wouldn't be able to pay the buyback.
But we don't have any value now at all anyway.
You know, with the 768,000, you're not gonna get, or 670,000, you're not gonna get that back after 2 years, you know?
Well, I mean, you're not gonna buy, when I say buy the machines, I don't mean these machines, I mean, these machines are similar, they're probably now worth about $100,000 a piece, if you look in the real market. And that's why I was wondering what equipment was with them, but if you look in the real market on a machine trader, and they're somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and of course, in that price, you know, that's where we're paying for the warranty.
Yeah.
You know, and then RDO pays, the regular warranty only covers so much,
Yeah.
and RDO's promise, which we pay for too, pays for the travel and time and stuff where they come, the $300 a
Yeah.
trip to repair stuff.
You know, so how much of that is actually,
This, you know, for years we paid $100,000 a year for 4 machines,
right?
5 years ago. Now we're just gonna pay 160, so it's only $60,000 more than what we paid for when we didn't have 30 mills and we didn't have. That's why it's hard for me to get it in my Norwegian head, but.
Well, I mean, it's black and white. If you can find where the money, I mean, this isn't rocket science here. It's, are we going to have the money? Are we going to make a commitment and have the money to pay for it? And doesn't seem to me like we do, but if you can show me, then I'll certainly go along with it.
Also, building repairs, possible. We did get our windows set in,
That's them, yeah. They came in?
they're in.
Oh, they're in.
Came yesterday,
No.
but they're not finished.
No.
So just for fun, the other day, I had Ryan measure the building, And he calculated how many 2x4s we need to strip it, how much insulation, how much metal, about $25,000.
To put it on the outside.
And if we could do 2 weeks of our work on that, we could probably do it ourselves.
Yeah.
We would save,
Huge heating savings, huge heating savings. I mean, insulation, you're not gonna get much, you're gonna get R4.
we put like, whatever the thickness of a 2x4 is, inch and 3/4.
Right, yeah, it gives you R4 and that blue board.
By just putting those doors in, I don't know why, but the power bill was $60 less. Just in that month.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is or not. Could have been plugging in equipment, different things.
No, I mean, there's no doubt that big solid brick building there just a heat soak. I mean, it just loses everything.
So if you'd want me to, we don't have to accept any bids, but you have to advertise it probably and see what it comes out. Maybe, I don't know. You have the right to accept or reject any and all bids, so. Want to go forward that way.
Okay, anything else for Wayne?
I have, something. Well, once, the bill, or the plans get turned in, the state, then I can do the RFP. And then we have to decide on who's gonna be the board that meets with people that send in their application for the engineering. But that'll come later, because once they get the plans from Jake, then they'll put it on their website, the state website, so that the engineering firms can see what kind of a project it is, and then we'll have to send in the RFP.
Right.
So that'll come up. And then, statewide interoperability, network. That's the Department of Homeland Security. They're trying to come up with this radio system, or whether it's computers or radios, that they could communicate between all branches of emergency services. So they want our radio frequency, everybody's. They want the ability to use that radio frequency if they have to. So we have to sign a document that says, yes, they can use our radio frequency.
Who's that again?
The Department of Homeland Security and statewide, state radio is part of that organization.
So this is North Dakota DES.
Yep, and that's where, this on your phone bill, there's this SIN, this money collected every month that goes to that statewide interoperable radio network. So I've got the documents, I've got the paper, but we had a meeting, a phone conference here on Wednesday and discussed it. But it's up to you guys to sign it. I think we're gonna have it off yet for a while. It doesn't have to be until March. So I want to do some more investigating into it. Our radio frequency, we're not the only ones in the state that uses that same frequency. We used to hear Wells County until we got Colgard on it.
Yep.
To block it out. And Mercer County, we could hear once in a while. So whether they give our frequency up or not, we don't have to. They don't know exactly how many frequencies they're gonna need yet, because they don't know what kind of a program is gonna come in. Right now, they're advertising for vendors to put in a proposal for what type of a network this is gonna be.
But if we sign away the rights to our frequency, they have the ability to cancel that frequency
It says.
and make you participate in whatever program they
Yeah,
put forward.
It says that they can't just cancel you out without your agreeing on it. This is what they say.
Yeah, yeah.
What's it gonna cost? David Upke, Commissioner from Foster County, is on the board too. That was one of his questions. Someone else too, you know, what's it gonna cost us? They said at this time, which is easy to say, it looks like it won't cost you anything. Because they'll use that $28 million and whatever else is gonna be collected on that fee, on your phone fee. But a lot of people don't wanna just jump into it, I'm one of them, giving up our frequency. So I said, well, what about, I talked to Jamestown Communications this morning. I said, what about the hospital, sheriff's office? I don't know if the fire departments, I think the fire departments may be on our repeater. We don't hear them anymore unless we turn over to their channel. So then they said, well, you will have to go out and talk to them too. But if it's a private company like the hospital, if they have their own radio, I don't see how they can just, I don't know either. But it's just something I wanted you guys to be aware of what's going
And what
on.
benefit do we get from this, from giving up the?
We'll be able to talk to someone else, I guess. If somebody comes in here, there's a Dakota Access Pipeline out here, and there's a whole bunch of different people coming here, they can all talk to each other.
Thought that's what cell phones were about.
Yeah. So, somebody's making a lot of money.
It doesn't sound very beneficial yet to us.
The odds of needing that are slim.
Yeah.
Well, just the nature of the agencies pushing this makes me a skeptic. But I'm not saying they haven't done anything good, I just can't find anything they've ever done good.
I guess that's all I have then.
Keep an eye on them,
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that ambulance deal, but that air ambulance,
Oh, yeah.
'cause I got an email on that too,
Yeah,
so.
we shut that down a long time ago.
We
shut
chose
that-
not to
We
participate
shut
in
that
that.
down a long time ago.
When they came and talked to us, we decided not to do that, so.
Yeah, when you look at that chart, you better make sure if you're going to Sanford, you call the Sanford ambulance, air
Yeah.
ambulance, 'cause
Yeah.
otherwise you'll get charged bucks.
Okay.
Evidently, the state didn't like it either for some reason, but.
So we'll just sit on the lights for now, but
Well, I thought they were gonna get us a cost of leasing them for another 2 years. They never,
leasing for another 2 years.
or extending the lease for a couple of years, so we get,
Yeah, they said they could extend it, but, you know, they'd warranty it for 2 years, but not for 5.
right.
Okay, I can
Gotta have some kind of options here.
find that out, and then I'll just bring it at the next meeting, is that good enough?
I think you're fine.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Wayne.
Oh, you had a
That's good.
window that broke on Jim's machine on Thursday, when it was storming on the wing side, so then he had to come in, so then Brian's truck kept stopping, and I think we've solved that. It was a electronic fuel shut-off. It was all rusty in there, and it just would die. And finally we found out if by tapping on it again, it would work again for a while. So we worked extra hours Thursday, Friday, and then we worked Saturday part of the time. So, all right.
So if we had better trucks, could we have less maintainers?
Well,
Some counties do it that way. I
trucks
don't-
only do it in the winter time, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Some counties do it that way. They rely on the speed plows.
They
to do
just
most
use
of
the trucks in the
yeah.
winter time,
Yeah.
and they don't use the blades.
Yeah,
They still have blades to
right.
gravel and stuff.
Right.
So theoretically, you could write a lease agreement, for a lot less hours, or you could run
Less plates.
fewer machines, more hours.
More hours in the summertime. Because I'm just thinking, I just watch the state move snow, they do a nice job. They just have better trucks.
Their trucks and they got nice pavement to plow on.
That's right.
Well, but I mean, those belly plows and stuff like that, they're heavy trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got, one truck's got that belly, the one that Brian's got, it's got
Okay.
that blade in the bottom.
Where we run into trouble is when the ditches get full.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
And that's when the
Then you
highway
gotta
department
push.
gets in trouble
Wing
too,
is-
Mark.
The wing is,
Yeah.
of course, there is a wing on that
There's
truck,
one
but
truck.
it's not, near as long as the ones on the maintainers, to get it out, pushed out farther.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when they gotta go slow and they make that pile next to the edge of the road. You gotta,
and then when you first start out in the fall, the road's not froze a lot of times. Well, then you can't use a truck right away,
sure.
because we've had them dig into the ground, so.
Just curious.
Yep, okay. Have a good weekend.
Cutting into your time, Megan.
That's okay.
Not really. We got lots of time.
And as our townships, and I can just use Cooperstown for an example, but as, we don't over-maintain by any means.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any money.
Well, that's right, that's right.
And if the state gets their way, you'll spend most of it on assessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
Because
the heck with the snow.
when we got those booths those years, we put a lot of gravel on. And that's what I think townships spent their money on.
Oh, absolutely, we did.
Dumped a lot of gravel on these roads. And a lot of times the guy that put the gravel on also spread it and packed it the first time with his maintainer and that sort of thing. Because all the gravel that was going on the roads, the county could have never kept up running around with 4 maintainers.
Megan.
Yes. Am I supposed to talk? Or you guys asked me to be here?
Oh. I opened the thing up and then.
Oh. Well, do you want me? I can talk about the reported activities first. So I know.
You are okay. Now I'm catching up to you. I think that was John, right? Asked last meeting because the NDSU is talking about cutting or changing the formula for funding the extension. Our weed guy decided he wasn't going to do that anymore, and John said, "Well, maybe Megan wants to do that, and then we'll have some funding available for the extension service." I don't know how much time it took Tim. I don't think it's a big deal, but
No, I don't think so either.
so I guess
That works for me. If that's what you guys want to do.
I mean I wouldn't be opposed to it.
It would put it under $4,500. Is that what we paid him a year?
That sounds about right.
Into the extension budget, basically. I mean, where it gets used, it doesn't make much difference, but if we're gonna be a little short in the extension budget, and it was one of the extension's proposals that we try to find other work within the county for the.
Wasn't it $1,300 a quarter?
Yeah, something 12 or 13.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
52 a year. That's right.
$5,200, I think, is what we were paying Tim.
Oh, 5,200?
I think so.
Well, then that's, I think, because so Esper, Medigan, and before it was 40-60, what they proposed for populations over 2,000,
Right,
less than 2,000, the county had to pay 60 and the state 40.
right.
Now that they determined everybody has to be equal.
They got pushback from the little counties.
Yeah.
I heard that.
So
But either way, if we can have some extra money.
So
there
what's the
and-
new formula?
40-60, what you guys were already proposed.
Oh, they just gave the little counties a reprieve.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So how much what would that mean to Griggs County? I can't remember.
It was an increase of 51.67.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
but
I mean, I guess I thought maybe I had said I if I had to go down to 0.8, that would be an option to make up for that
No,
difference.
I think you can be a weed. You can be the weed.
Yeah. And when I first started this job and when Jim Gray was here, I didn't really understand that role, and I don't think Tim put a lot of effort into it.
That's okay.
So I can help.
I don't
Or
think
like-
there's a lot of effort required.
Well, it
It's mostly to
determines
be a
on-
resource, isn't
Yeah.
it, kind of?
Yeah, and then has anybody ever really regulated other people's pastures and said you got way too many weeds?
Oh, now you can't have the job.
Yeah.
There's no, we don't want government telling our citizens what to do.
But that's where that it came sticky between extension and that agent being in that position.
We have a weed person because the state says we have to weed person. We're not in the enforcement business here.
It's if the neighbor comes and has a
Complains.
complaint against
Yeah.
his neighbor, he has somebody to talk to.
When I remember when I was a kid, my grandpa was the McHenry County weed guy, and when he came to Velvo one time because somebody was complaining about somebody's leafy spurge, and he went and talked to that neighbor and said, "Hey, you want to spray your leafy spurge?" It was kind of, I mean,
We'll
it's
give
not like you
We'll
have.
give you the chemical, would you spray it?
It's not like you have a gun in the badge.
No.
We don't want to do that. We don't want adversarial relationships with taxpayers. If we can help it.
And if they want a fruitful pasture, they should probably be on top of that anyways.
There we
I
go.
mean,
Right.
There you go.
so
I mean, that's what sorts the wheat from the chaff in any industry is people that do a good job as opposed to people that don't.
Yeah, but a good job is subjective. Maybe one person's good job isn't a good job to the next person. I mean,
But
we can't
their
impose-
longevity will determine that.
to try to impose standards on people in something like this is ridiculous.
No,
Everybody gets to
I'm
be
not
an
a-
individual. They get to do whatever they want. Well, you're imposing standards if you're giving somebody the regulatory power to tell them what they have to do. That is the definition of imposing standards. Don't like it. If I want to let the weeds grow in my yard or my pasture, I don't think anybody has the right to tell me I can't.
No, but if you don't survive financially, that's what I meant. That'll sort the wheat from the chaff.
But that's a personal decision. That isn't
No,
a
that's right.
decision coming from
And the only thing is,
entity.
if you're, I think the weed thing is if your infestation is affecting your neighbor,
That's right.
and it's a prohibited noxious weed, then somebody's got to say, "Hey, guy, you're not being a very good neighbor."
You could go to any piece of ground out here and throw a tarp over it for 1 year and not let any weeds get in there, and take the tarp off, and the weeds would come from seed from 100 years ago. You know,
That might be.
again, we're off track. I just don't want to be a regulatory.
No,
Yeah.
I don't either.
think that's what this was.
it's a mediator more than a regulator.
So, was it last fall then, when we started charging $20 for each member?
yes, for any regular member, so not a Clover Bud.
Okay. Was that put in place then on account of the budget shortfall? So if we come into place and we don't have a budget shortfall, is that gonna go by the wayside?
I don't know.
Things like
'Cause
that
I
don't
think-
go away, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Other states have always charged to be in 4-H,
Sure.
so I don't know, but I would say that they probably would do away with it, unless there was enough people speaking up and saying, "Let it go." To
But
be
I mean,
free.
where does that money go then? That
To the Center of 4-H.
in.
So to pay for contests, towards helping the state fair. To those,
So that money will go into the state fund?
yes. Yeah, it doesn't go to the counties.
It came from the county before.
There was no $20 fee.
There was no fees.
I know who paid the state then, county?
The state.
The state just
They had
initiated
enough
this fee.
funding.
Initiated
Yeah,
this fee
enough
to get out of money.
Oh, this
they were
isn't
paying
gonna affect
themselves.
the county budget.
No,
Ah,
no, the state was paying.
This is a state fee thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
The state was paying it.
so that's the answer.
Okay.
Till their funding became short.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of the shortage in the county budget.
Of the extension
It was just
budget, it was
it was
because of the state
state.
budget
Yep.
for 4-H.
That makes more sense, because I was having trouble getting.
Yeah,
following along
I
there.
didn't quite understand it either
Right.
when they were, okay.
So who brought this up?
Well, I'd rather not say.
Okay.
It's not that big a deal.
I didn't know if there was a training out or a meeting out there.
It doesn't involve,
No,
it doesn't,
I don't think so.
it doesn't involve the county, so
No,
we're not, we shouldn't take credit
I think
for
they
that.
were, I think they were combining the two budgets in their mind.
Okay.
So they,
It- well, it
the
just
extension was short, that's why.
Impacts 4-H members in the county, but it doesn't affect the county government, or
Yeah.
the county as.
Yeah, yeah, but it's the state 4-H budget that's having the problems, okay?
So that does bring one question though. When do we differentiate between Griggs County resident 4-H members and non-residents? Or do we offer services to non-resident 4-H members without a fee? In other words, can somebody from Trail County come and be a 4-H member in Griggs County?
Yes, they can. So where 4-H gets their money to work with at the county level is through the premium sale. The kids are assessed 10% on how much their premium is bought for, and so it would just be, and the amount of businesses that buy out of the county versus in the county, there's more money coming from outside of the county than inside the county, but that goes towards resident and non-resident 4-Hers.
But there's still county resources in the form of your salary
Yeah.
and Melissa's salary that are strictly county resources going to then administer the program, and we have then somebody coming from outside the county, that county not having to use those resources for that person, we pick up the cost of it.
Yeah, then we've got some 4-Hers in our county going to other counties.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Those that are interested in archery, Trail and Steel have an archery program.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Oh, I was in Griggs County and went to Steele County 4-H. You were in Barnes County and went to Steele County 4-H. So it's that sort of stuff's always been. Yeah.
And all likely
I don't-
would-
It's not-
Our 4-H club is from 3 different county members.
Right. So it probably all comes out in the wash. They take some of ours, we take some of theirs.
Okay, very good.
We have more livestock
The
than some of the
lakeside
surrounding
boys.
counties, so
Right.
some of those kids like to come
Jesse
here.
Lake is,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
okay,
Okay.
In your guys' packet, there's a report of activities, so what I've been up to the last 3 months. We did egg in a classroom in Dakota, and so this year we focused on the swine industry. Had designed your succession plan. There was a beef meeting in there in October as well. Central Dakota Egg Day was really well attended. That was in Carrington last month in December. Upcoming meetings, there's Eastern Egg Day next Thursday in Hatton. We've got the crop improvement meeting on February 6th, Tuesday. They'll be in this room. The beef cattle update is February 27th at the Netta Auditorium. And then I've got 2 pesticide trainings. I have to get through about 65 applicators this year. So those 2 dates are March 21st and March 29th. And then Kim asked me, she wrote a letter, I guess just in response to the December 22nd meeting. I'll share that with you.
Who?
Kim Lewison,
Oh.
the district director. And then yesterday, Lee Gunkel, she's the family nutrition program person. she got a pink slip.
Oh, really?
Yes. So she will, that position will be cut July 1st.
Thank you.
So her funding was mostly federal dollars, and it was based upon population and how much of the population takes advantage of the SNAP program, and it's been a stagnant to declining amount in Griggs County, so they cut her and Griggs Steel and Trail. And there's a couple of other agents as well. So that's her last paragraph that she shared.
Any luck getting into Griggs County Central here? Looks like you're doing a lot of things out for Mid-Kona, and that's great.
So Dakota, I do egg in the classroom.
Yeah.
They like beg us to
Yeah.
come. It's wonderful. And then Griggs County Central is more the after school program is how I get in.
Okay,
But I haven't heard anything on egg in the classroom yet.
okay.
So I've been trying to focus on the agriculture and the natural resources through the after school program.
Wasn't that egg in the classroom, wasn't that something that was kind of started through Farm Bureau, and then you're just kind of taking over now?
I don't know how exactly they were set up. Were all
Yeah.
grades invited to come? Or did they just do one grade?
Yeah, I think you just did one grade at a time.
Okay. Because our approach is we're going to focus on one aspect of the agricultural industry and then invite all the grades to come. So they revolve through one classroom, and then if we have an animal to share with them.
Have you gotten a hold of any of those board members that I mentioned to you about getting hold of them, that are on the Griggs County Central?
I haven't brought up that topic yet. The
Okay.
other thing is I want to make sure I've got a pig ready.
Oh,
So
Make it
when we
to the back
do
page,
go,
Troy?
Huh?
Do you make it to the back page? You know what I mean, but pat yourself on the back.
no, but I think they're making her part of the weed deal. Starting here,
I mean,
the weed person.
our question was, would this, I think it's fine.
Yeah,
The question is, does she think it's fine? I mean, we can't,
I think that's a good fit.
we can't make her do it.
You
You know,
got the expertise and to do that. Check John first.
So you'll probably get, yeah, so there'll probably be no salary for that position. The salary will probably just transfer that money to our portion of extension and make the weed officer a portion of the extension agent.
just make it part of the job description.
We might have to budget it separate, just to make the state happy, to make sure that they see though that we have a,
Well, we
A weed
can
person.
figure that out somehow.
yeah, make it look.
We don't want to pay double
That's right.
fringe benefits. I mean, it's
Yeah.
that's getting pretty high if you're having two separate categories here. We don't have to do it right now. We can.
I think that's a real good option.
Not a lot of weeds growing right now.
So,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Maybe indoors if you.
and this isn't gonna affect anybody till 2019.
No.
But the state says we have to have a weed officer, so at some point, we'll have to get the thumbs up or the thumbs down from Megan.
Yes.
well, I will start today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Great.
I know that they've just had some meetings out in Bismarck, so I don't know if anyone's ever attended in the past, but I'll speak to some
Yeah, I
other
don't know.
agents that are also weed board officers.
Well, you do have, that does happen.
Yeah,
Was it blue?
Trail County is set up that way,
Blue is the weed
Steel
officer.
County is, but
Okay.
Steel pays in addition to the salary. Trail that's part of her job duties. and I think Rolette County as well.
Okay, good.
Well, coincidentally, the salary matches the proposed deficit, but I don't know come July if that's gonna be the actual deficit. I mean, the budget's gonna, when they look at the end of June, when they look at they do look at the proposals again, and, you know, last year, that's when they had to make cuts at the state level.
The state legislature he's talking about.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get more pushback from counties about sharing in the fringes, I think.
Well, especially when the fringe benefits are up at 53%. I mean, you look at that, and that's a lot. That might be industry standard, but that is an overall standard of you and I and everybody else as far as fringe benefits into their.
That's a big number.
It is a big number, and she makes a point of it that the fringe number is in lieu of a higher salary.
No, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand
But the problem is, and I hate to harp on it, and I think it's going to get worse, is this defined benefit program.
it. Oh, absolutely.
You know, that makes the employees look really expensive because of what's going to happen going forward. And I think what happens going forward is going to get worse.
Yeah, there's already a proposal of another 2%. Right.
Yeah. And that's no fault of the employees. I mean, that's the fault of the legislators.
One from the state and one from the employees.
With our employees, and you talk about the defined benefit, and what do we pay? 8?
15.
15?
15.62.
Yeah.
Are we,
We pay the total on.
We pay both sides.
Both sides.
Used to be
Okay.
50-50 match. The school board did the same thing some years back. I don't know.
are we set at that 15 too, so that the 2% comes in, that
No,
we're set at the full benefit?
we don't have any control over what it costs to be in that program.
But we can
Yeah.
control who pays what.
Yes, but I mean,
Oh, yeah, you could yeah, I see what you mean. Could we not go,
more than what we already are paying, and the increase would come out of the,
I mean, even if they increase it by 2, you can make the employee pay it all. You don't have to.
yeah,
well, probably not. You could probably only make the employees pay what their portion of that would have been.
15.82 right now.
Yeah, because that was voluntary. That was just on a case by case basis where and that was
Like, we pay 3% of
yeah.
it.
That was
That's all.
yeah.
It's not a 50-50.
So
But out of the last 2 increases, we picked the employee pays portion of it.
as Department of Ag, your defined benefit?
It's ND PERS, yeah.
Spurs. Yep.
So whenever it's just the university, that's defined contribution.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she's defined contribution. But it's being paid.
That's
By
just
the
because
entity.
you're a university system.
Yep.
I do defined contribution, but it's on my own.
But I also, the
Yeah,
state
you'll-
doesn't all pick it up. I pick up some.
Right.
And you can put in an additional amount in that if you choose, right?
In a 457, not the 401k.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't mess with the.
Contributions on the 401k? Oh, you can. You can't. Huh. Ours is different at the bank.
Where then they'll match it to a certain point, or half match it.
The bank puts in 3. The bank puts in 2. I don't remember. And then for every 2 we put in, they match 1 more up to 4. And then we can go, you know, I'm over 50, so I can put in $24,500 a year. So yeah, we can go up above the bank's contribution. That's 401k.
Okay. But the state's contribution to the agent, the fringe rate
That's
is 53%. So you might do something over and above that, but the state's contribution is 53%, according to, if she's right about this.
No, that's the health insurance and everything. That's
Yeah,
not,
that's everything.
That's
Fringes.
not contribution.
Yep.
You have a separate pre-tax vehicle that you can use.
Yep.
That's not matched. It's just
Right.
solely me.
Yep.
Mhm.
Anything else?
If you guys would like the weed officer to be a part of the extension agent's duties, I would say we should probably have a motion to that effect. And we don't have to do it today.
Do we know if we can do that yet? Wouldn't it be better to have Megan ask one of her people at NDSU if we can do that, or how that should be structured?
That's fine.
Well, she's got a, whether.
Sounds like
There's
Sharon
other
did.
counties
Oh, there
that are
is?
set up that way.
Okay,
Rolette County, Steele County, and Griggs County, or
Or
Trail County.
Trail.
do it then.
And but maybe also include that it's not in addition to her salary or to the extension agent salary. It's part of her duties.
Duties, there you
And we're basically changing Megan's job description
go.
or the extension
Okay,
agent.
so then, if we're doing that,
If we were smart, we would have done it when we didn't have one, see?
we can't know what we don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
So, okay, then by extension, by doing that, then we're agreeing then to NDS, to the increase in Megan's salary.
No, because it won't affect us till 19. It's gonna save the county some money in
Up until then, right? But in our-
2018. And then it will cost the county $5,200 in 19 if that formula stays in place.
No, it won't cost anything because
Or, I mean, it'll return to the way it has been.
But that's the point, we are committing to something. Generally, we're committing to something here by making her the lead board member.
That's correct.
I don't know, I'm not against that, I just, the only thing that I don't know for sure is that a blanket agreement? I mean, what happens if after July, the cost is not at now 5,200, it's
Mhm.
10,200? Where do we say?
We would have to handle that in the budget process. It wouldn't change the fact that we need a weed officer and we have an amount of money that we're willing to spend to do that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we're not paying the weed officer anything, we're making that part of the extension duties.
Right.
And then we will just take that weed budget dollars and we will merge that with extension in the budget process. I believe, in 19.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
But for now, she's willing to do it for 2018.
I'm fine with that.
I'll make that motion to combine the two offices, or combine the weed officer
With extension.
with extension.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried. Okay. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Megan, that was very.
I also will be gone in 2 weeks, so the extension office will be closed one day. Alyssa will be in 4 days a week now. So, just
Okay.
I always like to inform Sean if I'm going to be gone for a while, but just figured I'd let you all know.
Do we have anything planned for the summer as far as try to get any more of these spurge bugs or anything, or is anything under control in the county, or?
There's always growths or more. The first year I was here, I went up to Butte in Michoud. Is that how you say
Yeah,
it?
Michoud.
There were beetles there, not many. And leafy, it seems like leafy spurge was present, and it's probably on the ongoing. It's increasing again.
Yeah.
So leafy spurge beetles, they're like cows. You bring them to a pasture. If you don't provide enough food for them in that pasture,
Yeah.
they're gonna die off. They can't magically fly to another pasture. Not magically, but they can't fly to another pasture to find feed. So because everybody would say how many beetles were out there, but if they've been controlling the leafy spurge decreased, there wasn't enough food source for them. Now these beetles need to start increasing again.
Do you think that'll happen? Do you think
It's
they'll-
gonna take time.
It happens, but
Does it?
absolutely.
Okay,
The population, if you have established populations in your leafy spurge, and it's not in some hot, dry sand, which
Mhm.
they don't survive in that even when there is a lot of spurge. If it's in this soils like we have here and up at the butte and along the river, like on my pastures, the spurge beetles explode when there's an intense infestation, and as they control it, their population goes down too. And then when the population of spurge starts coming back due to the lack of population of bugs, then the bugs come back too. It's just, you're never going to eliminate the leafy spurge. It's always, they're going to ebb and flow. The population of the plants and the insects are just going to, the insect population is going to follow the plant population up and down.
so the few that I have in my pasture, I don't worry about it, the bugs will keep growing and take.
But the key is to make sure when it is increasing and you caught this peak population of insects, move them to new locations.
Oh,
So we don't really have a good location where we can go out for 20 minutes and collect and get.
Not like
Coffee
we used
cups.
to.
not like we had
So
when first
When
John
I'm-
brought them.
been recommending is to go visit Stutzman County because the weed ward officer there, that's his full-time job. He goes around, he just goes around and finds these hot population areas. Then they have field days and people collect for half an hour and they go home with cups of leafy spurge beetles.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did. What did we put them in?
little cups,
So
little styrofoam cups.
if you guys have a spot that's just
Hot.
like full of it, let me know. The other hard thing is that it's usually around fair time.
Yep,
But so if I can go out and collect around, I think it's 1600 growing degree days based off the sunflower growing degree day chart. If I can just kind of see how many are there, and if we do have a field day of some sort, how long are we going to be collecting?
I don't know if we have much of an issue anymore. At least I haven't seen anything that far away. If you've seen anything red level, really been pretty well taken care of. We used to be pretty bad spots.
Well, Tim Walry made everybody kill their spurge, and he killed all the food source for the bugs.
Yeah,
Didn't get in the southern corner.
yeah.
I tore it out. Mine's on the upswing. My spurge.
Yeah.
My bugs have crashed.
Yeah.
Mine did
I mean,
too.
I'm starting to see them.
They're just going to
show up
do that.
again.
But if you go out there in the summertime, you'll still find some
Oh,
bugs.
yeah, I see them, a few all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't
like
see
Troy's saying,
plants
as
that are
the
black with
as it
bugs
gets more,
in
they're
it.
gonna
Yeah.
get more.
And the people that are usually calling me for the bugs are older and a little disabled, and calling up that butte did not go easy for
When
them.
I collected bugs in Barnes County probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there was unbelievable amount of bugs.
That's when I went down there with Blue and Dan Rurvig. I mean, when he put those spurge beetles on the butte, it was the same time I put them in Colleen Erickson.
It looked like clover fields down by the dam.
Mm.
Back in
Yeah, it
the
was
days.
unbelievable.
And they were dropping.
They dropped them from planes, right?
Yeah,
Those
they
bugs.
dropped styrofoam cups with a rock and bugs in them.
Hmm.
We collected them and put them in coolers and brought them home and dumped them out.
Yeah. Well, very good.
So that's where the leafy spurge beetles are at.
Okay.
If people get old and disabled, then they should make their renters go do that.
What was this particular couple is right around their yard.
Oh, not a big area.
No,
That bugs don't work very good in those kind of situations, anyways.
yeah, and it was a nice pasture that wasn't being grazed down enough. But then if the grass would have been cows won't seek it out, but you had some sheep or
Goats.
So we need to get some of those into the cow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, not on my home. Not where I live.
You don't want a billy?
Huh?
You don't want a billy around?
Oh, I can't stand them.
I hear they smell pretty.
Oh, they're awful.
Oh, they're wonderful. Yep.
All right, is that it?
Yep,
Okay.
unless you have something else. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
Okay. Is Wes coming in or for,
No,
not?
he had to take a prisoner to to Bismarck today.
See the governor?
I don't know.
This looks like mostly training problems with the facility, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know if you guys read that or not, but
I mean, they don't fix it.
apparently my follow-up email when I sent this to everybody on that email chain didn't go over very good. But I don't know that I care because it was the truth. A new jail would not help any of these issues that I can. So,
Are they having a meeting here shortly?
Oh, West Run.
February 3rd or something? 6th? Well, I don't know at any point in going to it. To me, this is about some people in this tri-county area or whatever that want to build a new jail. That's what this is all about. If they had a new building and they ran it like they run this one, they'd still be a class 3 jail the way I look at it. Did you read that report?
No, I haven't yet.
It's mostly employee and training.
Lack of training, lack of doing the right thing. It's not about the building.
No, the building's gonna come into question here after December 22nd, and because of these shutdowns, now they have to bring in structural engineers who are gonna evaluate the whole building as to its acceptability.
Soundness.
So I asked Jamie, knowing what we know via the report that the state sent out about the inadequacies of the building and what we should be doing as far as sending prisoners there. And Jamie wrote back to me in an email here, knowing that there are deficiencies with the jail in Barnes County, I have to consider, I meaning Jamie, the potential liability for Griggs County if a prisoner is injured while in a jail in Barnes County. I believe that if we have an injured inmate, we could potentially face liability or a lawsuit for that injury.
Not the facility, but the county.
Yeah,
Because you only sent them to.
we only sent them.
Oh, after this, yeah.
So I don't think from from a county's perspective, I don't think we should send any prisoners to Barnes County anymore. I think we should renew our contracts with Stutzman and Trail, and they are still in place. But
And Cass.
and we don't have one with Cass yet.
Oh, we probably should though.
Right, and I think we should develop one with Devil's Lake
Ramsey.
Region, Ramsey.
Yeah, but that one is regional.
It is.
That one's owned by Nelson County, Towner County, Ramsey County, and whatever.
It is, but they do allow walk-in traffic, so to speak.
Okay.
I don't think it would be beneficial for us to get in a position where we have to live and die with what happens to Barnes County, because if it comes to the point it has to be built, look at the huge expense that's going to put on to Griggs County. So I think we should
Seek other opportunities now.
Right. I think we should cut our ties with them, just because of the danger of, if you read those 48 different discrepancies, a lot of them have to do with how they handle their prisoners. And so now we know that. We know when we send somebody that we put in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We didn't know.
I mean,
until now.
You would think a report like that is, it's like cheese to a rat for lawyers. Mm-hmm. They're probably looking at that, just trying to find somebody that they could have as a client. So I think we just do, and it's not going to change. That's in place for a whole year. It can't get any better. It's got to stay a Type 3 facility for a whole year, but it could at any time be shut down and closed completely, and that might happen as a result of the structural evaluation they're going to do. So we've got other options. I think we should seek those options before we don't have
Before we get behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
Is cost-wise, does it cost us so much prisoner? Or
So much
whatever?
so much a prisoner a day.
Are they, all these facilities, the same cost?
I don't know that. I think Troy's got a better grip on that and what they charge us.
It's $80 a day in Barnes County.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more in Stutzman. I can't remember.
Distance, closeness was the biggest reason for.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, less mileage or whatever.
But I mean, Barnes County is Stutzman County, it isn't that big a deal.
Once you're loaded,
And once.
well, even Devil's Lake for that matter.
Right, and Hillsboro's close, so I mean.
They're all 60 to 80 miles, so.
But I think it's fairly evident that the facility in Barnes County is substandard now, and I don't think we should be associated with that myself.
Are they all at that same price, 60 to 80, so maybe the only thing that, or 80 are prisoners, so
Yeah, I don't know that for sure.
all of the difference we'd have to pay is mileage? I suppose we pay mileage on our own
Which is
vehicle.
minimal, I mean, they're all
Yeah.
about the same distance all the way around it.
There's a,
And even if it's $20 or more a day, what's a lawsuit gonna cost us?
Yeah.
Yeah. And safety for the prisoners.
And the other part of that is, well, first of all, the Barnes County Sheriff said that told Wes he didn't want our prisoners there anymore.
Oh.
That can happen, but it's gotta be done according to the contract with 30 days prior written notice. The other thing that was taking place was our 24/7 people were going down there, the ones that have to blow in the breathalyzer, and Barnes County was taking care of that. I don't think that's fair to the citizens of Griggs County. These people don't have a license. They probably did something they didn't mean to do, and now we're making them find somebody to drive them all the way to Valley City in order to comply with a court order. We should be doing that in-house here in Griggs County.
Why can't we?
We were,
Oh.
but when Mickey went away, the program went away, correct? Yeah. We have plenty of people working at the facility, and that I think it should be done in-house as a service to this citizens of Griggs County. Again, there's this, that program is a rehabilitation program, it's not a punitive program.
Mm.
So why would we be punitive about where we have it
Mhm.
far, far away?
Do we have the equipment? That,
We must have at one time.
so that's, who would be,
What is it, just a breathalyzer? Or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sheriff's Department's got one.
Well, that's,
That's who is
it was the
administering it.
sheriff's department's, under their direction, is when it went to Valley City. It's because I assumed that Bob didn't want to train somebody or didn't, and when Mickey wasn't here, then that program wasn't here. But we've got people that are trained in the breathalyzer right here, and I don't know why they can't do that.
Auditor could probably do it.
Well, let's check into that, make sure that we'd be all compliant that way. And
Guess
if we have
what?
any court deal or.
Guess who the county commissioner for the sheriff's
Okay.
department is?
No, really.
You should have been here last time.
Yeah, I suppose.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Vice President. Surprised you didn't hear the train whistle.
I'm glad you think something's gotta be checked into, because you're the checker.
I didn't see that in
Yeah,
my
well,
order here. I didn't see that in
You want to retract that last statement?
Yeah. No, it isn't in my
Should have
list
sent
here.
your representative.
No, but I think that'd be a good idea, to talk to him, and I think he's in the process of trying to get someone certified to get it done here,
Here.
but
oh, Wes is,
I think so.
Okay.
But there shouldn't be an additional cost to the county. I mean, we should do that in-house with the resources we have.
Right.
okay.
Maybe Chell could do it.
He's in Texas.
He's in Mexico. He's in Mexico.
Mexico.
Well, no, right on the border. He's in Texas.
Go down to Brownsville.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have.
That Heartland contract came, and he had included a letter that he thought we should send to the North Dakota DES. So I didn't feel very comfortable signing the contract and not having you guys look at the letter before we signed it and shipped it out of here, so I kind of put them off for a few days. So if you guys are okay with that, we approved the contract last time. I don't know, was there some changes to it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Still would be nice if we could employ somebody in the county doing that instead of somebody from
Yeah,
Bismarck.
we've tried and tried and tried.
What's that?
The DES.
And
Oh.
Tried through the fire department and ambulance.
well, as we talked, it should be somebody that's not on those things, so that they're not at the site.
Well, it would be, but no one wants to do it, so.
Yeah. Problem is, we start getting it out in Bismarck. How many year contract do you have to have?
Just
It's year by
Is it
year.
year by
this
year?
and we
Well,
got,
actually, month by month.
Yeah, 30, yeah.
we got 30 days notice to get out.
Okay.
So it's not a big. We have to do something.
If they get too high priced in the next years to come or whatever.
I don't know if we need a motion to send that letter to the state.
So moved.
Been moved by John that we send the letter to the state DES informing them of our selection of DES director, or
Yep.
DES services. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Abused Persons Outreach Center, Inc. What's that?
Just this letter, Jamie told, had sent me and wanted you just to put it in the packet.
Is this the one for Valley City?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so this was the second part of the email that Jamie sent me. The first part was doing with the
Jail.
jail, so I'll just continue on. I also had the auditor include additional information for today's meeting regarding the Abused Person Outreach Center, APOC. The reason I did so is that the APOC serves victims of Griggs County who are dealing with domestic assault and sex crimes. APOC has been a recipient of victim witness fees that we are statutorily required to distribute to the agencies such as APOC. My proposal to the commission is that we know we need to make these contributions, we do so as required by statute and Marcy's law, that we make sure to contribute funds from the victim witness fees to the AOPC as they do serve Griggs County. So remember the witness.
I thought we
Victim witness.
distributed that.
I thought we did-
It was
we did like
accumulating, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought we did like 1,000 or 1,500.
We do, every year we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that accumulates from something to do
Some
with,
court fees or.
Those fees that are charged
if you get charged with something, right?
defendants,
Anyway, so Jamie thinks that we should
put them on the list.
put them on the list, and they
I
were
think
on the
they
list.
were.
They were,
Well, I think
that's where we
this-
sent
This
them.
was our pick anyway.
That was our
wasn't
pick
it?
anyway.
Yep, I think that's who got it.
But that's a yearly deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think that requires any action. I think we just,
The employee manuals, if everybody would take that home so we can look it over.
What were the revisions from January 2017, said revised?
I think that was that storm,
Yeah.
Okay.
if there was a storm.
So, when you're taking this home, there's a few things that were of doubt, and I think it's kind of been clarified a little bit, but go to page 13. Under sick leave benefits. And first paragraph, the county provides paid sick leave benefits to all eligible employees for periods of temporary absence due to illness or injuries. And then if you go to the, right below the bold print there, partway down, the sick leave may be used only for an illness or injury sustained by that employee or for the illness or injury sustained by a member of employee's immediate family as defined in section 3.6 of this manual. Go to page 24. The second paragraph down under family medical leave, the county may provide unpaid medical/family leave to eligible employees who are temporarily unable to work due to medical disability, to care for the employee's child after childbirth or placement of adoption or foster care. And then go to page 27. County will not discriminate against any employee who requests an excused absence for medical disabilities associated with a pregnancy. Such leave requests will be made and evaluated in accordance with the medical leave policy provisions outlined in this handbook and in accordance with applicable federal and state laws. Requests for time off associated with pregnancy, adoption, and/or childbirth, apart from medical abilities associated with these conditions, will be considered in the same manner as any other request for unpaid leave. It also references
The Family Medical Leave Act.
yes.
It requires you to allow for 10 weeks of maternity leave, but it doesn't, you don't have to pay for it if they run out of vacation.
The Family Medical Leave Act of 1993 is the United States labor law requiring covered employees to provide employees with job protected and unpaid leave for qualified medical and family responses.
Right.
Yeah. These includes pregnancy, adoption, foster care, placement of child, personal or family illness, or family military leave.
Right.
I think some of the other things that needed to be addressed in there are probably comp time, and maybe we should have something for personal time.
Well, it's hard to unring a bell, but who decided that sick leave could be used for maternity leave?
Yeah,
That's,
and
it's not in the
it-
policy manual.
It doesn't, it's in the policy, we didn't follow the policy manual when we granted the transfer of sick leave to use for maternity. That's what it amounts to.
We didn't allow it.
We didn't allow it.
When?
To transfer sick leave, it has to come before us.
It didn't.
Then it can't happen.
It did already.
Yeah, and so
It
that's,
happened twice,
yeah, I know.
concurrently.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, sick leave it doesn't even allow that to be done that way. Even if we said we could transfer, it doesn't allow it. Because it says it can only be used for temporary absence due to illness or injury.
Right.
And then it goes on to say the sick leave may only be used for an illness or injury sustained. that doesn't make a difference. We did it. We can't unring that bell. But we either have to change the employee manual, or we have to enforce the employee manual from here going forward. That's the only two options.
The manual probably handles it fairly well.
The policies, this thing is just fine.
Yeah, the policies.
The elected officials need to start following the policy manual. No, I don't know what you can do to the elected officials if they refuse to do that.
No, but I'm just saying that there's two choices here. What's done is done, and I don't think it was malice intended. I think it was probably been an accepted procedure for a long time.
That could be.
Yeah, and I think it's happened before, and I think so. But we got to decide: are we going to follow the manual, or are we going to change the manual to allow this procedure to keep going forward?
Well, we could fix this. If we change the manual and got rid of sick leave and just went on to all PTO.
So you accumulated stuff to PTO somehow then, or?
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was right or wrong, but when we converted in that Nodak Electric, we just got rid of sick leave. And everybody got like 4 more days of vacation. And it was no longer called vacation, it's PTO.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get sick, use your PTO. Go on vacation, use your PTO.
If you don't
We
get
don't
sick,
care
you
why
get
you're
4
gone.
more
If you're
days.
gone, you're gone. You got some more days. We increased the amount that you could carry, and
What did they do with your accumulated sick
it quit accruing, but it's sat on the books.
folks?
But you can only
Because I mean, once you've accrued something, a benefit in an employee's in their favor, I don't think it's right to go take it away.
no, you can't take it away. Again, no.
So, but you can quit accruing.
And you can, and at buyout, you only get 10 days, is all you can accrue at
Yeah.
sick leave to get when
So it's not a giant deal
No.
anyway.
Yeah. Right.
But I like.
But I mean, when I left my sick leave, I didn't get nothing for it.
Right. No, but under our policy, you get paid
10%.
If you had 100 days of 10%. If you had 100 days of sick leave, you
You get paid for
10%.
10. I mean, it's good if you're going to have sick leave accrual. It's good to have something in place like that gives some value to the people that don't use it.
Right. No, I think, like I said, I think the manual.
I like the fact that PTO, and it seems like more places are doing that. It's just simple,
It's clean.
clean.
You don't have people griping because somebody's abusing their sick leave, and I mean, it's just if you're, and then for the if you run into somebody at Walmart on a
Sick
Tuesday
leave.
afternoon, you don't care.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to run back to the office and look at their time sheet. I mean, it doesn't matter.
So, the elected officials,
That's going to take some more research. I don't know how that works.
they don't accumulate sick leave, do they?
No.
Or vacation.
No. Because they're not bound by anything other than
The voters.
The voters.
Yeah. So then it wouldn't even affect them one way or the other, whether you're under this system or change it.
Yeah.
Not everybody that's taking time off right now is elected.
Yeah. But you're talking more so the county shop. That's probably where most of our employees are, aren't they? That aren't elected.
All the deputies.
All the deputies, that sort of thing. Yeah, there's just a couple.
The other thing,
There's one coming back on Monday
Yeah.
who has been gone for 12 weeks for maternity leave and using sick leave. So I'm just saying that shouldn't happen.
Yep.
So the county, the elected officials need to know that that's not going to happen because it isn't. And Kelly told me straight out yesterday that it's always been done that way.
and
Well,
that's
that's
probably
not-
why it was done that way. is
No,
because
I
it
agree,
always was.
but it shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
Again, if it's going to be done, then we gotta change the manual. If it's not gonna be done, we leave the manual the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, and it, you know,
And maybe
in the for what it's worth column, you have somebody gone 12 weeks concurrently with somebody else being gone for 16 weeks or 17 or whatever it's going to end up being. Maybe we're overstaffed.
It does bring up some interesting questions. You know, it's
Just saying.
I mean, it brings up some questions, no doubt. The other thing that I think we should consider in the policy manual is, we touched on earlier, is how we're going to treat new hires as far as how we treat them for the retirement, and do we put that into a defined benefits?
Or defined contribution.
Right. I believe that we should, of course, the employees that are in the plan are in now in the PERS, stay in the PERS, but I think for new hires, we should change that around. One of the big reasons is that we're losing control here of our unfunded liabilities, and the more people we have involved in that, and the longer term it is, the worse it's gonna be. The second thing is,
We do need to talk to that representative, though,
yeah, I don't.
you know, before we can make any of those decisions.
The second thing is, if someone leaves, doesn't make it to retirement under the plan we have, they just get
It's punitive.
run over. It's punitive. If we had it the other way around, they could leave and they could remain. They could take with them a lot of the money that was put
Once
into
they're
the
fully
retirement
vested,
program.
Vested, yeah.
Plus,
they get all of that plus whatever the growth is.
yeah.
When I quit at Nodak after 20 years, I barely got what Nodak had contributed
Yeah.
to my retirement.
So considering that,
So I was a friend of the actuarial
yeah.
because I worked a long time and got very little.
So considering at some point, a brand new hire, at some point in that 40-year career, if they're gonna make it to retirement, Griggs County isn't probably gonna operate in the same manner it is right now.
Right.
Griggs County might very well be associated with another county, or, so it's not fair to a new hire to try to hold them hostage to work for 40 years for something that might not even be here.
Right. And the, you know, if you look at the labor statistics of the people that are entering the workforce right now, they don't work at one place for that many years.
No.
I mean, the chances of that being a benefit to the employee in the end is way slimmer than it used to be.
The other thing that kind of baffles me a little bit is, you would think that the elected officials would have been against that, because how long can you be an elected official? I mean, yes, sometimes for the whole 40 years of your, but if you
They're subject
if
to-
you ever get put out of office, you'd think you'd want to leave with the monies that were bestowed upon you, but under this system, you really don't.
No.
So, again, we can't undo what's been
I think
done.
like 7% of it is, of the 15 they put, 7 is like your pot, 7 is the state pot that everybody shares out of.
No, but the benefit is calculated after the fact.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So if you don't have very many years of
But the
service,
fact
you don't
is,
have
even
much
if
of
you
a-
left and you could take that portion with and roll it into something else, it's still not as good as, like you said,
If we were putting $100 a month into your 401k and
you could take it all.
it plus the growth.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that-
you're
that's my
barely
point.
gonna get your principal back if
Yeah.
you, I mean, that was my experience.
Yeah, and I'm not recommending lowering the amount we put in. I'm recommending changing what we put it into.
Well,
to
it
give
all,
them-
it just gives you,
You're basically personalizing it.
gives
Yeah.
you control of your future liability.
Right, yep.
Cause right now, we're just in the group and we're along for the ride.
Yeah, there's no changing that, and you know,
You can pick where
at
you
one
wanna
at
put
one
it.
time you went to work for a big corporation and it was this way. Well, times are changing, and now the only groups left are the
Government,
government.
utility.
Yeah,
Quasi
the government
government.
labor union groups, the
Railroad.
labor control, are the only ones left, and something's got to get a little
Could
bit
be
more
like working
restructured.
for Enron. If you're
Yeah. You know, we pay a huge amount, it's 50%, we pay in for all fringe benefits. And that's gonna go nothing but up.
So. We'll talk about the employee manual again at the next meeting.
Yeah.
New courthouse, old courthouse. Did you guys see that letter I got from Jeff Bitts? It's a copy of a letter that was sent to Cindy back in 2014. So, I don't like that answer very well. The only thing I could think of to do,
So did they send you back this letter that they sent Cindy, or was that?
he just emailed me this today,
Oh,
this morning. He didn't really want to talk about it because it wasn't his decision, it was the Attorney General's decision. He's just relaying. Now, I would be really, really curious to see how the other building authority projects in the state of North Dakota are insured and what the wording in their lease agreement is that qualifies them if they are insured through this fund and disqualifies Griggs County. I don't get it.
So what's filed as a mortgage or on this building? What protections are filed there
Protections for who?
for the bondholders?
The UCC 1A.
Okay, does the UCC 1A then also list the insurance the insurance coverage?
A UCC 1A just says that the bondholders own all improvements on Block 5 of Cooperstown, North Dakota. So the old courthouse and the new courthouse are collateral on those bonds. It's the same form that we use if we finance a cabin at Red Willow Lake.
Yep. So what public document verifies insurance?
Remember last month, the lease agreement, Griggs County agrees to carry insurance through the lease agreement.
Yep.
And the safekeeper is B&D for the bonds, and we have to certify every year that we have building insurance. That's how this whole thing started. I got this certification from the Bank of North Dakota, and I called down here, and Lori got me the insurance policies, and I was reading the deck sheet, and it kind of came back to me that we had this thing insured from Bank Forward instead of through State Fire and Tornado. So that's how it all rolled around. And I started inquiring, and I don't remember seeing this letter. Cindy probably had this in our board packet back in 2014.
Oh, I remember seeing it.
Okay. So now, because when this all came down, I thought the issue was that we weren't in here or something. But I was wrong. So now I'm just curious, okay, what language in a lease agreement would disqualify some building authorities and not others? Because the ownership of the things can't be any different.
So, well, first of all, the occupied and unoccupied was just a
Rate
premium
issue,
amount,
yeah.
premium amount rather than anything else.
That's right.
But what I'm trying to get to is what public document can we access that will tell us who insures another building authority project? If it's with the state, it's a public document. So all we have to do is identify a number of building authority projects and then
Request the
determine
document.
who insures them in order to first of all,
Right.
put some credence into what was written there.
Right. I mean, one thing you could do is if you had cooperative people at those other building authorities, you could have them send their deck sheet and their lease agreement and see if there's something different in those in their lease agreement than in our lease agreement.
It's possible.
Because I was kind of giggling. I said, well, Jeff, you know these things are cookie cutters. They're all written by the same lawyer and the same bond attorney.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm just telling you what the Attorney General's office told me. I'm not going to debate this. I said, I get that. I'm not mad at you. I'm just making a comment.
No, but I mean, we should double check that and
Well, that's what I'm just wondering how a guy does it.
Well,
See,
okay.
I made a couple phone calls, and they were both insured by the fire and tornado. But I wasn't smart enough to ask for the lease agreement.
right. Well, in my
And that's
brief experience with building authorities, building authority and cooperative shouldn't be in the same sentence. So I don't know if we're going to find one that's willing to cooperate with us because it could very well jeopardize their status.
Well, I mean, that was that one gal that I talked to. She was going, gosh, I don't know. Based on what you're telling me, I hope we didn't slip through the cracks and we're getting this done and shouldn't be getting it done. But
So where, I guess I see this now. Where's the Attorney General's opinion on this? I don't see that.
well, that's what he told me.
He just quoted the
Century code.
Century Code. And I read that Century Code, and I don't see that specific language in there.
I guess I didn't go read the Century code. I was busy this morning. and-
Yeah, it refers to state-owned buildings, but it doesn't necessarily rule out. And it doesn't specifically use that language he used here. I mean, maybe the first step is to get a determination from the Attorney General. Let's ask him. Let's have Jamie ask the Attorney General whether or not this building can be insured in the state fire and tornado.
Could it have been something to do with us not being on the building authority at that point in time?
Who knows? Who knows? I think John's got the right idea, just
Let's ask him.
ask the
Okay,
state
let's get
attorney.
let's get an opinion from the Attorney General.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's ask the Attorney General and
Do we need a motion to that effect?
well, I think we need Jamie to do it. I mean, anybody on the county commission can request an Attorney General's opinion, but the way you have to do that is basically you send him the information, and then he makes a decision on it after the fact. They don't go searching for information. You send them a brief.
Yeah.
Well, the Attorney General's nothing about the Attorney General there.
That was just a verbal comment.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it.
But I think that's what we're getting at, is that we want the Attorney General to
Yeah.
comment why we can't qualify.
Let's ask the Attorney General about the state fire and tornadoes denial.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is this accurate?
I don't know.
Wayne, buddy? He's not my friend though.
I know. But I mean, that's what he's for, is to advise us. I mean, we
Sure.
could, the other being we paid the dues now, we could ask the
Association of Counties?
Association of Counties also. They've got a lawyer, they've got lawyers on
Sure.
staff.
True.
So I think that's the way to pursue it, rather than prove that it's right or wrong. Let's just ask somebody and see.
One
what
thing about
they
the
wanna
Attorney
do.
General's opinion, he's got to be very careful, because if there's already building authorities that are on it,
Well, that's my.
Then I think that,
That's why I'm
What
so
building
curious.
authorities did you?
Well, I called the county of Grand Forks.
Well, let's just find out. Let's
what about the
Yeah.
school down here?
In Barnes County
That's
North
what
is
the
the
building.
building.
I didn't call them.
but, yeah, I think you just gotta get Attorney General. And like you say, if it's a matter of that we weren't on both sides of the board or whatever, you know, who knows? It might be some small technicality thing that we don't have to do.
Well,
much.
Moody's Investor Services certainly feel that the county owns it.
Yeah.
So does Bank North Dakota.
Yeah.
They hope we do, because they don't.
Well, we can
want it.
find out.
Huh?
We can find out.
Okay.
We have to, we can do
Are you gonna do that? then?
Talk to Jamie.
I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, if we have to, we can do a FOIA request too. I mean, that's not.
Anything else on old courthouse, new courthouse? Future business?
No? What happened to our meeting schedule thing?
What happened to our calendar?
That was an old one.
Oh, that was
last-
17.
That was last year. So we have to get a new one put up in here.
So what, February 9th?
Yep.
February 9th?
That's what it says on that's what Lori says.
That's what I say.
How come it isn't the second?
Because
The
we,
first-
won't-
Huh?
we won't have any bills, enough bills and all that. It's not
Could have been
time.
Groundhog's Day then. I make a motion, we recess.
Been moved by John to adjourn. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 3:10 p.m. on January 19th. Next meeting will be February 9th at 1 p.m.